I'm Cora Scott. I'm the Director of Public Information and Civic Engagement for the City of Springfield.
All right, Cora, so this week has been pretty interesting from the regard of reality TV. So we're doing this series. When a reality TV show shines a negative light on Springfield, like the recent Ink Ink trailer, it's you know, we don't know if the show, what's going to happen with the show, but the trailer, it's had some reactions. How does the city deal with the effect of that on the communication side with the citizens?
When I first heard about the trailer, I heard from the Convention and Visitors Bureau. So they obviously have a concern about how Springfield is portrayed and if it's a fair portrayal or not. So I took a look at the trailer. I tried to be careful not to overreact, because keeping in mind it really is just the trailer. We don't know what the show is going to look like itself. And also it being a reality TV format, we all know that reality television is a version of reality and not necessarily actual reality. So I just try to take that into perspective.
When a reality TV show is based in Springfield, like The Bachelor, Ink Ink's new show, or Cops, how has the CVB chosen to respond to the shows that they've created?
Well, you know, it really kind of depends on the content of the show. I can think back to when The Bachelor aired and Aaron Berge was from Springfield. You know, that was a very positive story for Springfield. We had even some visitors that came to Springfield that we know of that came here just to see trolleys, just to see the restaurant. And so we chose to add that to our visitors guide at that time and really promote the fact that we were the home of Aaron Berge and that we had his restaurant here. You know, with Cops and with the new show that Ink Ink is going to be featured in, those can sometimes have a little bit more of a negative perspective for Springfield. So we are cautious with that. Really, the main thing that we're doing, especially with the most recent show that Ink Ink is going to be in, the trailer was obviously showed Springfield in a more negative light. And so what we do is continue doing what we do, which is to promote the positive aspects of Springfield. We know that what was portrayed there, although they call it a reality show, is not actual reality. And so for us, we want to continue promoting the great businesses that live here, the great people, just the variety of things to see and do in the community, so that hopefully when people see that show and see some of the negative things, we can show them that that's not completely accurate and that we have a lot of great things happening in Springfield, so that we can encourage them to visit.
Did you guys contact the business? How did you respond to them?
Yes, they were actually the first call I made. And I didn't get a hold of them right away because they were receiving such an overwhelming response. So we had a team member from my department actually go down and talk to them, go down to the business, and that was very helpful. They were overwhelmed. They had calls from citizens. They had threats from citizens. They had lots of media inquiries, and so they were really busy, and it was something that they weren't used to. So I would advise any organization thinking about getting involved in reality TV to know that it's going to be or can be a really hectic and overwhelming situation, and you really need to be prepared for what you're getting into.
The mayor was involved in this trailer, and obviously it's had some controversy with that. What did the decision-making process look like to whether the mayor should be a part of that?
So he was contacted directly by producers asking him to come down to the shop and talk a little bit about commercial development and the success of businesses on C Street. So perhaps we could have vetted it a little bit more before he went down, but he was just being supportive of that business and didn't really have an understanding of this being a reality show. I learned about that a little bit after the fact because he thought he was just responding to a very routine, typical request through the city offices.
Is there lessons learned from that you're going to change now because of this event, or?
We're thinking about it, we're evaluating, but really we're such an open environment in the city. If media or individuals need to talk directly with elected officials, we don't want to impede that process at all. So we are not really going to change anything from that respect. Reality shows, though, whether or not the city is going to get majorly involved, for instance, city departments, such as, you know, that the police department's very involved in cops. We do have a vetting process for that, and we have meetings regarding that and plan accordingly.
What are some of the factors in that decision-making process?
We think about what is the show, how will it help us inform, enlighten, and educate our community? I'm learning more and more about reality shows. I've been working in media for 23 years, and some reality shows are completely scripted. Others are not, like Cops. So it just depends. You've got to learn really a lot about the production company that you're working with, the type of show that they're wanting to produce, and then just weigh those pros and cons. Is that something that you want to participate in? And is it going to be worth it to the greater good in the end?
Awesome.
You've got to think about what is important long term for your organization or for your community. Nationally based television programs are not, those producers aren't necessarily as concerned about your community. You get really excited about the idea of a national audience, but really it's your local media that's telling your story, that's consistently educating the public about what is important in your community. So don't let that, the prominence of a national fame level sway you in deciding whether or not you're going to participate.